Welcome to the Spiritual Principles Made Practical podcast. I'm your host, Scott Friedman, and what I'm really inspired to share today is the fact that the only power that satisfies is power over ourselves. So, whether you're the leader of a country, a business, a family, a friendship, whatever it is, whatever we're in relationship to, the most powerful impact we're ever going to have and the most satisfying impact we're ever going to have is power over ourselves. And there's a number of aspects to this, but it's the only power that satisfies. So that um, passing legislation to uh, try to force people to do what you want them to do and to adopt the policies and practices that you think are best and trying to defeat them is never going to be satisfying. Having power in that situation, having power over another country, having power in a political party, having power in a business, having power in the marketplace. Any of those things will never satisfy our need for power. Now, it doesn't mean that it's bad to have influence and power, but it will never satisfy our need for power. And one of the things that happens is that once we have power over ourselves, the desire to have power over other people diminishes. But what actually does happen, though, is that our our influence grows because of one very simple fact. The most powerful form of leadership is example. And so if we have power over ourselves and we behave in ways that make us proud, then other people will want to emulate us. They'll want to follow our example because example is the most powerful form of leadership. And if we show that we're using our power to, um, maintain a healthy body, maintain a healthy lifestyle, maintain a joyful experience, maintain uplifting relationships, if we're using our power to uh, direct our behavior and interactions and actions and so forth and our thoughts, then that will be so attractive that other people will want to emulate it. And that's if you want to make a contribution to society, then the way to do it is to be an example that people in society would want to follow. And I know that from my own experience. I had a friend sit me down earlier this week and tell me that uh, not all, but many of the examples of how people that we both know emulate me and want to be like me and want to behave that way and so forth and so on. And, probably some of it's because, I'm almost 70 and still on the tennis court without pain, which, it's a big deal, right? If you're a tennis player, it is. But it's just another example coming home to the fact that when we have power over ourselves, our influence on other people grows without us trying to do anything. I mean, I wasn't trying to tell those people what to think, say, do, anything at all. I was just being me and trying to have as much power over myself and behave in ways that I was happy with, all I could, and just to be honest and accepting and supportive of myself. So that's the big message. And at this particular time in the world where there are serious power grabs going on, right? So, people want to have their way, right? They want to have their legislation. They want to run the country their way. They want people to do what they tell them to do, right? And a lot of that, if not all of it, is motivated by this lack of power that people are experiencing. And really what it is it's lack of accepting their own power over themselves. And, no amount of winning elections or supporting, or appointing judges or directing agencies and law enforcement and all the rest is ever going to satisfy that need for power. Once we have power over ourselves, our desire to have power over other people diminishes. And as that diminishes, as I've said, our influence over other people grows tremendously. And there's a whole, there's this great phrase that I heard on a Brian Tracy tape decades ago. And it says on the order of a man convinced against his will of others is of the same opinion still. You're not going to force people to agree with you. People change when they want to change. People see an example that they want to follow. That's when they change. They don't change when, I mean, I've often said, you can outlaw abortion all you want, but someone who's committed to having an abortion is going to have an abortion, whether it's legal or not. You can make drugs illegal all you want. You can do everything you can think of to stop the flow of drugs in the country and the manufacture of drugs within the country. But as long as there's a demand for drugs, there's going to be drugs. And people will find a way. And so, but if you're an example of someone that deals with really, really tough stuff and doesn't take drugs and finds peace and finds a way to deal effectively with that and come out, better on the other side, so to speak, then that's going to do more to stem the usage of drugs than any confiscation or law or anything else is you can provide an alternative to where you dealt with a challenging and difficult situation in a healthy way and got it resolved and were better, stronger on the way out of it than you were going in. That's going to do a lot more to stem the usage of drugs than passing a law or arresting people. And again, not because somebody says so, but because it's a more attractive alternative, right? Nobody really wants to get hooked on drugs. What they want is they want to escape from pain or to experience greater joy. And believe me, taking drugs doesn't, in the end, doesn't lead to greater joy, and it doesn't lead to eliminating pain. It's a short-term fix that only exacerbates the problem. But when we meditate and we say, man, I'm really stressed about money, and I'm really stressed about this, and my relationship is really stressful, and this is really stressful, and that's really stressful, and I wish I could just, let it all go and enjoy myself. You know what? Take a breath. Say, you know what? I'm creating all this in my mind, and yes, that's what I'm doing, and I just need to take a breath and see if there's a better approach and a better way of looking at this, and be an example of taking a breath and considering the options and considering what those options are going to bring. And that's power over ourselves. And when we start exhibiting more and more of that power over ourselves, then our desire to have power over other people diminishes. I mean, I do these podcasts primarily to create greater alignment with myself. And based on, more than 18,000 downloads in more than 43 countries, my example is of interest and benefit to some people enough so that they tune in and listen and are interested. So it's just another example of influence grows as a means of sharing our examples. And if we want to have influence in the world, that's the way to do it. Trying to force people to behave in the way we want them to behave. It's a losing proposition. It'll never satisfy our need for power. Never will. Never will. And you're not going to change their minds through force either. You're going to change their minds through being an inspiring example that people want to follow. And so the more that this goes out there, and this is the truth, and so I'm hoping that I can align enough with the thought that the quest for power over other people is a losing proposition, and it's much more beneficial for everyone involved if instead of trying to have power over other people and force our will on other people, that we use our power to control our own speech and behavior so that we behave in a way that other people want to emulate and be proud of. So that's my desire is to embody that so completely that when I look in the world, that's all I see being reflected back to me. So that's my goal. If you'd like to have more help in being aware of your thoughts and the impact of those thoughts and meditation and all that good stuff, you can email me at scottfriedman40@gmail.com, SCOTTFRIEDMAN40@gmail.com. My books are available on Amazon. You can find links to them on my website, www.thoughtcoachingbyscott.com. Okay, so that's it for right now. And I hope that I've been an inspiring example for you. We'll see. Okay.